In a world where geopolitics are shifting daily, analyzing the dynamics between the United States and Israel provides essential insights into global diplomacy, conflict resolution, and regional stability. The recent re-election of Donald Trump as the 47th President of the United States has sparked a mix of celebrations, cautious optimism, and some apprehension, particularly from Israeli leaders. As a staunch ally to Israel in his previous administration, Trump's return to office is anticipated to usher in renewed diplomatic strategies, particularly concerning Israel's regional conflicts and relationship with Iran. This article aims to explore the implications of Trump's victory, the potential changes in U.S.-Israel relations, Netanyahu's recent dismissal of Defense Minister Yoav Gallant, and the enduring challenges Israel faces. Trump's election in Israel. A pro-Israel president returns. Israelis are celebrating Trump's victory, viewing it as a reaffirmation of strong U.S.-Israel relations. Trump, known for his unprecedented support of Israel, had a significant impact during his first term. He recognized Jerusalem as Israel's capital, moved the U.S. embassy there, and formally recognized Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights. Bold moves that aligned with Netanyahu's right-wing vision for the future of Israel. Trump's policies were well received by the Israeli public and leadership alike, marking him as one of the most pro-Israel presidents in recent U.S. history. With his return, Israelis expect continuity in this strong pro-Israel stance. Netanyahu, Trump's longtime ally, congratulated him, expressing hope for history's greatest comeback and a renewal of the strategic alliance. Israeli leaders, like President Isaac Herzog and Education Minister Yoav Kish, shared similar sentiments, reinforcing the idea that Trump's second term could be pivotal for Israel. Promises for Israel, security, sanctions, and Middle Eastern diplomacy. One of Trump's critical campaign promises was that, if elected, he would bring swift action to the Israel-Gaza conflict. He went as far as to say that if he had been in office, the October 7th Hamas attack, a tragic and defining event, would never have happened. This promise has resonated strongly with the Israeli public, particularly as the threat from Iran, Hamas, and Hezbollah looms large. Trump also plans to reinstate sanctions on Iran, hoping to pressure Tehran economically and curb its nuclear ambitions, a stance that aligns with Israel's national security concerns. Iran has been a primary threat to Israel, continuously asserting its intentions to destabilize Israel and the region. During Trump's first term, he not only withdrew from the 2015 Iran nuclear deal, but also placed stringent sanctions on Iran. This economic pressure crippled Iran's economy, limiting its funding to proxy forces like Hezbollah and Hamas. Israeli leaders hope Trump will resume this hardline stance, effectively reducing Iran's capacity to sponsor terrorism and regional insurgencies. If Trump follows through, Israel would likely see a safer environment in which it could operate more freely without the constant threat of Iran's influence in neighboring territories. Shifts in Israeli domestic politics. Netanyahu fires Defense Minister Yoav Gallant. While the U.S.-Israel relationship strengthens, Israeli politics remain contentious. Recently, Prime Minister Netanyahu dismissed Defense Minister Yoav Gallant, citing a lack of trust and significant policy disagreements. This shakeup came at a time when Israel faces heightened security concerns and is engaged in an ongoing military campaign in Gaza. Gallant's termination seems to underscore a growing divide within Israel's leadership about the management of the Gaza conflict and the handling of internal leaks from the security cabinet. Netanyahu highlighted Gallant's breach of confidentiality as a key reason for his dismissal, suggesting that Gallant's actions were undermining Israeli security efforts. Public disagreements within Israel's top ranks raise questions about the government's unity during this critical time. Netanyahu's replacement for Gallant, Foreign Minister Israel Katz, brings a wealth of experience in security, finance, and diplomacy. His appointment reflects Netanyahu's need for a defense minister who is not only competent but also fully aligned with the administration's strategic priorities. Additionally, this cabinet shakeup includes plans to replace top military leaders, such as Chief of Staff Lieutenant General Herzi Halevi, potentially overhauling the decision-making framework for Israel's security apparatus. However, the move has sparked protests, with opposition leaders and civilians rallying against Netanyahu's leadership, showcasing Israel's internal political volatility. U.S.-Israel relations, what can we expect? Trump's re-election is expected to result in tangible changes to U.S.-Israel relations. His return could ease some of the pressures that Israel has felt under Biden's administration, especially concerning the Gaza conflict. Trump's firm stance against Palestinian terrorism is anticipated to reshape the U.S.'s diplomatic posture toward both the Palestinian Authority and other international organizations, like the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine Refugees in the Near East, UNRWA, which he cut funding to in his first term. Israeli leaders view this as a positive sign for their national security and an opportunity for Israel to act without fear of heavy-handed U.S. diplomatic repercussions. However, the U.S. approach may not be completely straightforward. A more hawkish stance could exacerbate tensions with Iran, heightening the possibility of military confrontations. Israel must brace itself for the potential that Iran or its allies could initiate provocations, especially in the months before Trump's inauguration. Iran's knowledge of Trump's willingness to respond decisively could act as a deterrent, though this remains uncertain. Israeli citizens are aware of this possibility, as shown by their heightened alert and prayers for the safety of their nation. The broader regional context: Israel, Iran, and the potential for escalation. As the situation stands, Iran poses an immediate threat to Israel, with the potential for direct attacks or indirect confrontations through its proxies. Despite the U.S. election's dominating media coverage, Netanyahu has emphasized the importance of strong internal coordination and has made moves to shore up Israel's defenses. Israel's missile defense systems, including the Iron Dome, remain active and responsive, intercepting rocket threats as they arise. However, Israel's resilience is as much a product of its political leadership as it is of its military prowess. With Trump back in office, Israel might feel emboldened to take more aggressive actions against Iranian targets, both in Syria and elsewhere, to prevent Iran from establishing a stronger military presence near Israel's borders. The fear among Israeli analysts is that Iran could launch preemptive attacks, believing Trump would retaliate strongly once in office. Therefore, in the coming months, Israel may adopt a more proactive military stance, preparing for potential escalations. Israeli society's reaction in the role of faith. Israeli society's reaction to Trump's victory has been largely positive, with celebrations erupting in the streets. However, this political optimism coexists with religious and cultural appeals for divine protection. Many Israelis are turning to their faith in these uncertain times, drawing strength from the Psalms and ancient texts. The Israel Bible Book of Psalms, a publication encouraging readers to connect with the divine, has become a symbol of hope, with citizens finding solace in its words as they pray for their soldiers and the safe return of hostages. This fusion of political enthusiasm and spiritual reflection highlights the unique character of Israeli society. In the face of external threats, faith becomes a form of resilience, uniting citizens and reinforcing their commitment to protect the Holy Land. Trump's re-election may bring a renewed sense of security, but Israelis recognize that true peace is not just a matter of political decisions, it's also deeply tied to spiritual beliefs and values. Conclusion: a new era for Israel, but challenges remain. Trump's return to the White House is expected to realign U.S.-Israel relations toward a more pro-Israel and security-focused approach. His promises to reinforce sanctions on Iran, support Israel's efforts in Gaza, and reduce U.S. pressure on Israel's government are reasons for optimism among Israeli leaders and citizens. Nevertheless, this era is not without risks. Iran's potential aggression, coupled with internal political disagreements within Israel's government, could create instability in the months ahead. Israelis are encouraged by Trump's track record and trust that he will prioritize their security and sovereignty. However, they remain vigilant, knowing that the path to peace requires not only diplomatic alliances, but also strong internal cohesion and, in many cases, faith. As we move into this new chapter, the U.S.-Israel relationship will face tests, but with strong leaders on both sides, Israel hopes to continue strengthening its position as a safe, sovereign state within a volatile region.